David, obviously I know it's really tough to talk straight after a game, so you've had a little bit of time to reflect on sort of the Sutton result and obviously probably Ebbsfleet as well. Just sum up sort of how you're feeling at the minute and where we are.
Yeah, listen, similar. To take emotion out the other night, I mean, it was so difficult for players and staff to take when you lose goals as late as that in a game. And yeah, it's still very disappointing. Players disappointed, I think. The other night, I was talking to the staff, I don't think Carlendy slept to a certain time because it was just a bit of shock that we've unfortunately lost that match after doing so well. And again, everybody looks at football differently. If you have no agenda, you look at the players and see how hard they worked. The one thing, and I hear people talking about, like they have got to fight, and they have fought, and they deserve to win the game. And I think, unfortunately, when you then strip the game down, you analyse it from if it's a tactical point of view or a preparation point of view and what the players gave, then it was right. And I think that we nullified Sutton so much. Again, you're talking about a team a lot higher up in the league than us, in a bit of indifferent form. We're in a position that we've been in most of the season where it's been a struggle, but to be fair to those players, I'll still give them a lot of credit for going out there and competing and fighting because of where we are in the league, and they should have won the game, and I'll still stand by that. If you look at how it went, at no time did we try and sit in. We tried to get after it, particularly second half, and what's proved with that, again, if you're educated to watch football, you'll see that how where Tyler Roberts was to win the penalty. But the defining factor of the game was, unfortunately for us, that Gav missed a penalty. And again, there's players at Champions League level miss penalties and stuff like that. It's just something you've got to accept. Are we happy about it? Of course we're not. Is he happy about it? No, but it's football, but he's still got the bravery to go up and the courage to go and take a penalty at such a key stage in a game. And even though he's missed it, he's still got to give credit. But at the same token, if we'd scored that goal, the game would have been won, and nobody would be criticising any of the players. And it's just, I think I mentioned to you, I've got to give so much credit to some of the fans, particularly was a lady, and I thought absolutely just brilliant from the point of view of the players and staff. She stood, and if she watches this hopefully, she stood near the dugout and she applauded those players off that pitch, and I thought, fair play, that's a real supporter, and I think that's really good. And just to try and ask the supporters to support the team. They need support because it's been a really difficult season. I mean, I say I'm fourth in line of different people that have took the group. It's been difficult for the players all season to try and find a way to win games. They had a little rhythm of games. Unfortunately, last year haven't been great from a results point of view, but from the players working and giving effort and fighting, I can assure anybody that watches this, they work hard every day. The staff work hard every day because I make sure that they do. And that comes from the chairman down, that we work hard and we're trying to find ways to win games of football. Unfortunately, as I've said many times, football is unpredictable and football doesn't guarantee anything. It's a very cruel game, and that's what the old saying goes, you don't get too high or too low when you win and you lose. The other night was a real low, unfortunately, because of how it went, but we just need them to keep trying to support these boys. They've got 9 games, there's points to play for, it's a very difficult run-in, but we accept that, and it's something that we're not going to just suddenly back off and not accept the fight. They fought, and if you watch that game with an educated eye, you'll see how much they fought and how much they competed and how much they gave to that game. They really had one chance before they scored, which was the one at the back post, and Lincoln still put them off. Apart from that, I mean, I would argue MD what chances they really made. So it tells you how well we defended, how well the players worked. And then, unfortunately, as I keep them back to, we just got to try and take chances, which we didn't. So we reflect on it. We always try and look at whatever level you're at, still some of the positives in there. And I say the positive for me is the mentality of the players to try and work and fight in a really, really difficult season, but they're still doing that and will continue to do that.
I think, obviously, when you're sort of at the wrong end of the table, things can always go against you. Over the last 2 games, you know, I know we're not looking for excuses, we're not looking for reasons why, but how much has it been a case of just things not going our way in terms of, you know, Ebbsfleet indecisions, and then, you know, Sutton, sort of how those 2 goals just came out of nowhere?
No, I mean, if you look even back to Braintree when we were here, the second goal that they scored was never a free kick. Now, you can look at that in any game, and I'm sure that we'll have been given free kicks that other managers have been free kicks. The problem is that it's leading to goals that are then obviously affecting the games a lot. And the Ebbsfleet one last week was one where, I openly said we've got to defend the set play better. There's a mistake in there, unfortunately, but we then peppered them the whole second half. And again, the supporters that they were brilliant, you know, the ones that travelled, and they did applaud those players because they were behind that goal and they seen how much they put into the game. And again, Ebbsfleet did not deserve to win that game. But the decision in that game again, there was 2 particular ones. One, the Tyler Roberts, which is that evident the penalty. Another one, when he get brought down outside the box the good thing, I say it's a good thing or not, because I think it's important. I spoke to Mike Jones, who is our lead guy with the PGML, and they have watched it back and actually come back and emailed us to say that they got it wrong. And listen, it adds a little bit of insult to injury, but at least they've accepted the fact that the referee was wrong that day. He was wrong in the fact that it was a clear penalty. Now, granted, we've still got to score it, but in any different game you could have scored it. And we got away there with a draw, or we got away there with a win, depending. So it's just unfortunate, as you've said, when you're in the bottom end of the league, which we've been all season, things always seem to go against you sometimes, and we've got to keep trying to turn that and change that. So whether it's decisions last week, decisions the week before, and then this week, unfortunately, not the referee this week, just unfortunately for us, there's a couple of moments in the game that we've switched off at, and we've ended up losing when, to be honest with you, they didn't deserve to lose the game. And we'll hold on to that, because the players need that, they need to realise that, which they do. We'll back in again today, we'll work very hard to then prepare again for Forest Green, because that's going to be a really difficult game.
As you say, we have to sort of go again and look forward. I've just been with Frankie McAvoy, who's been speaking to some external media, and he sort of talked about how hard that office is working. You know, from the short time he's been here, he's been really impressed with the work that's going on behind the scenes. Can you just tell me a bit about sort of how much work and hours is going into this? You know, because obviously, like you said, the players are fighting, the staff are fighting, everyone around the club is together, and you know how important that's going to be for the rest of the season.
No, listen, again, like anything, you have teams behind teams, and the players need, like yesterday, off to recover, because we need them to run again. I've said that, I've got so much credit, the running and the fight that they've got, but then staff don't take days off, just so people are aware, they're not taking days off. We were in here yesterday, and we're looking at opposition, we're looking back at the game, the amount of detail we're trying to give is insurmountable, just to try and give an edge. And I think when you look at some of the aspects, obviously my coaching point of view, obviously supporters aren't going to see that because they're not coaches as such, but when I look at some of the detail that goes in and what they're trying to do, I've got to give the players credit for listening, I've got to give the staff credit for identifying and looking at it, but I say we cannot, I can assure people that ever want to question work ethic, that there's one thing that'll be questioned with me personally or with the staff, and it's work ethic, never, because we work hard and we'll try and keep working hard to find a way. There's no guarantees, unfortunately, but we'll do everything in our power, as we have been doing. Been in here Sunday, been in here Wednesday, every day, to try and find something that we can look at from our own performance point of view that can try and turn these performances into results. The issue I've had is the last few games is that the actual performance isn't getting the result, and that's football, so everybody looks at result, and we all do that. You look at result if you don't know the context, but what I would say is that people are working hard, and I say Frankie's come in the last 9 days. We needed that extra assistance because it was really just me and Nilo, along with analysts and sports science and physio, so you need another coach to come in to try and just help support, which he's been really good at. He's brought some really good energy, he's got a lot of experience, and again we're just trying to take every ounce of every day in the office to try and make sure that we find a way to try and get results. And again, the work that goes on is insurmountable, and I make sure today, again, players come in, they work hard, tomorrow they work hard, we'll do everything we can with detail. We have planned to go into the game, again Forest Green being second in the league, and I know Steve very well because I worked with him for 2.5 years, and they've got a bigger budget than us. He won't appreciate me saying that, but they do, but listen, they're there for a reason, and he's a top manager, and he has been over a number of years, so we know this is going to be a really difficult task for us, but we're going to try our best to try and get something out of the game.
You just brought me on to my next point. Obviously you worked with Steve Cottrell, you've spoke to me loads of times about different stories about it.
Yeah.
Just how is that going to sort of feel, first of all, and then, you know, how do you sort of take the emotion out of it and just focus on 90 minutes, we're against a team that may be above us in the league, but we've beaten teams like that before, and give the players the belief that they can go and do that again?
Listen, as I said to you guys openly, I've worked with him 2.5 years, and his attention to detail and his work ethic is second to none. I mean, I've worked with a lot of top people, I've worked with Vincent Company, I've worked with Jesse Mars, top managers, and to be fair to the manager when I was at Shrewsbury with him, honestly, his work ethic and details have been incredible, which has been good for me to work with, because it then helps you to have similar habits if you can, and that's why he's worked at the level he's worked at a number of years. He's been a coach for a long time, been a manager for a long time, and the dynamic I had there, working with him, Aaron Wilbraham, Brian Jensen, etc. was incredible in a similar situation we had here. And you try to kind of get the knowledge that he gave me a lot of the time at that point to try and help players here. So I know going into this game it's going to be really hard. I mean, you look at them, there's such expectation in them, and when they obviously come down last year, but it's so hard when you've got that expectation as well, and he's done a really good job, because there's teams that have come down for that have nowhere managed to keep up the top of the table. They're second for a reason. Obviously he'd want to be first, you know. It's but to be honest with you, it's something that I look forward to. I still speak to him on a regular basis. He's given me advice about things. I have a good conversation with him. I've only got respect for him because of the time I worked with him, because of what he did for me personally, and what he did for staff that were there, and what he did for the players. And there was such a bond that we had at Shrewsbury at the time. With a lot of the players, we still talk about it. And again, the one thing with him is, you know, they'll be prepared, they work hard, and you've got to be so respectful of that, which we'll try to be. But again, when you look at the level that they are and the level that he is, it's going to be such a big task for us. But the players will go out there and will try their very best to try and get something out of the game.
Just finally, I want to talk about the players in there, because, you know, I think I've seen, you know, quite a few times now that not just effort, but sort of, you know, determination is sort of can be questioned based on the results that's been happening. Tell me about the group in there. What do you think about them? What do you see in that group, and what are they going to produce for the last 9 games, or at least, you know, try their utmost to produce?
Listen, it's hard for any group. When I came in and assisted Kevin before as well, that if you're in those positions in the league, it's not easy, and players to deal with that all season is very difficult, and that's not making excuses in any way, shape or form. Unfortunately, sometimes you're there for a reason, sometimes you're not there for a reason, but unfortunately we've been there a lot of the season. So as a group, when you're asking them to keep fighting when things haven't went your way, that isn't easy, but they've done that, and I must credit them in the fact that I always remember the first week to come in, and we're working with them at training. They worked hard, and I can't really question, to be honest with you. They try every day, they go out there, they run, they work. We're trying our best to get them to keep doing that, and that's not saying they never done that. I mean, we should have done it all season. Just sometimes when you do put that in, you're not getting the results, and you're not getting performances that you want. But to be fair to them, and I do say this openly, and I'm not going to kid people on, me never will be. If they haven't done well, I tell them, and there is certain ones that I have told, and I tell them straight, in the fact that, because I think we're trying to be honest about if their performance hasn't been up to scratch, if there has been things in the game that haven't been good enough, we tell them. Whether it's myself, Neilo, Frankie, now, we will make sure that they're held accountable. But in the same token, we'll also give them the praise when they deserve praise, and I've got so much praise for them because of what they come in every day to do, because it's been a difficult season for everybody involved with the football club, and I'm coming in a lot part of that and really just trying to help them. I said that for day one, we'll try and support them, and we'll continue to support them, but you need them to want to work, and they have done that. And again, it's easy for people to look at football, particularly if they don't have a coaching eye or an educated eye, to look at it and question their determination or fight. I can tell you right now, I don't question that, and I know football. I've been in it for 25 years plus, and I've worked with players, and I've seen players who don't put effort in, I've seen players who aren't willing to work. They are working, and I want the fans to realise that, because they need that support more than ever now. You know, it's easy to criticise, and we can all do that, me as a coach over the years, but you've also then got to remember what they've had to deal with, what they're doing and where they are, and at the moment we're just trying to keep on pushing that. I mean, I spoke to, just in part of this morning, I always talk to the players when they come in. I was just, in a few of them passing there, I was talking to David, I'm talking to Corey, because obviously they're all the pros, and I think the biggest thing we looked at the other night was a shock. You know, they were just in shock that how did we lose that game. Even they said that in the game, we were actually comfortable, we were controlling it, but 2 moments that then we switch off with, unfortunately. That's how cruel football is, you know. And I go back to said earlier, it's like, unfortunately, football can knock you down a peg or two when you think you're doing all right. And I think that's happened to us, where we have a really good little run of 3 games undefeated against top teams. We then go against teams that people expect us to win, but no guarantees. But what I would say is, there's not been complacency for them. There's not been a lack of effort from them. There's not been a lack of work from them. They've come in, they've worked hard. Because listen, we wouldn't accept that anyway, but it's not something I've had to question, to be honest with you. From day to day and getting into games, I know they go out and they try and fight. Whether that looks that way or not, I can assure people they're trying to do that, and we'll continue to do that, and continue to do that, and continue to do that, and hopefully something will break for them, because they deserve to get a few breaks.